What's up, people? This is Brewing Daddy, back at it again. This time we're making up a batch of blueberry wine. We are using our Master Vintner Fresh Harvest 1-gallon wine kit for the first time. So everything that we have here on the table we're going to be using. We got our fermenter. We got about a gallon of warm water in it. We're going to add this packet of cleanser to it. We have our percolator here to measure our specific gravity. We have a gallon of filtered water that we filtered through our Brita filter. We have a measuring cup. We have our bag that we're going to put our fruit in. We have our fruit, sugar. We have some bowls here that we're going to sanitize, along with a spoon and a potato masher, which we're going to use to mash our blueberries. We got 2 spoons here, which we're going to use for our Camden tablets. We'll crush it between the 2 spoons. And then we also have some measuring spoons here. We have our yeast nutrient, our acid blend, our airlock, which we're going to sanitize, and then we have some pectic enzyme. So let's get started with sanitizing. And this calls for 1 gallon and the whole packet mixed in with it. So let's get that in there. We'll go ahead and put our masher down in there and stir everything up with our spoon. We're going to want to sanitize our hydrometer, so we'll pour some solution in it. We'll throw our spoons in here. Everything has been washed. We're going to throw these in here also. And we're going to put our airlock in, making sure that it also gets some solution inside of it. So we'll hold it up under and make sure it fills up. And looks like we got it full. We're going to sanitize our measuring cup, but what we're going to do with it first is we're going to fill up our tube. Sanitize it, because we will return any wine that we remove, or must, I should say, that we remove from our batch here. We'll return it back into the batch. And then we're going to use these for, like I said, putting our sugar in. This recipe calls for, I believe, 4.5 cups of sugar. And we'll mash our blueberries up in it as well. These have already been cleaned, but I'm going to rinse them with some sanitizer. So once everything is air dried, we'll let this sit for a few minutes, about 5 minutes or so, and then this is a non-rinse sanitizer. We'll just pour everything out, but we'll rinse these out as well. We'll make sure we get our lid sanitized also, and we'll shake everything up inside of our fermenter once we remove it all. Alright, while we're waiting for everything to air dry over here, we're going to go ahead and mash our blueberries. We just picked up a bag of, this is a 3-pound bag of Walmart blueberries that were frozen. We've let them thawed out. You don't want to put them in cold. They're still a little bit chilly, so once we mash them, we'll let them sit a little bit longer while we're doing everything else. We soak them in a sink with hot water in it to try to get them up to temperature. So we're going to mash them in this bowl. Recipe calls for 2.5 pounds. We're going to go ahead and put in the whole bag. It's a ½ pound more than what it calls for, but it's not going to hurt anything. It'll just make it a little bit more blueberry. Alright, so we're going to use a potato masher that we've already sanitized, and we're just going to mash them. We want to break all of the skins up and kind of have a mush. And this takes some time. It's very time consuming. But you want to break them up as good as you can. Just about need a bigger bowl than this one. But once you get these mashed really good, you can start mixing up your ingredients. These are going to be poured into our cloth bag that we've already sanitized. It's just drying. So we'll continue to mash these, and then once we're done mashing them, we'll be back. We'll be back for the next step. Okay, we split this out into two different bowls so to make it a lot easier to mash. We've mashed it for a few minutes. You want to get all the berries busted open, burst all the skins, and it looks like we're pretty much there. It's going to look like a mush like this, but just mash it until it seems like everything is already busted up and you don't see any whole berries. This one needs a little bit more work on it, so we'll mash it some more. Just like mashing potatoes. This seems to work. A metal potato masher is the way to go. And a bowl with a flat bottom like these work great. And the glass ones are heavy. Well, that's looking pretty good. I think we got most of them mashed. So we got a lot of juice in there, as you can see. There's quite a bit of juice, but everything's pretty much air dried. I've emptied everything out. So what we're going to do next is we're going to start putting our ingredients in the water before we pour this mashed up blueberries into our fermenter. So I think we're good there. I'm just going to leave the masher there. So we need to pour in, we'll do about a half gallon to start. So that's good, just to get us started so we can dilute everything. Go ahead and put our spoon in. So first thing we're going to want to get mixed in here is going to be our sugar, and our recipe calls for 4.5 cups, so we're going to put that in next. So let's get our sugar. I'm going to get it diluted first. And we need to get a reading off of it, so one of the reasons we want to get it in there right away. So this is a 2-cup measuring cup, so we'll need 2 of these and a quarter. And we just need a quarter cup, which is not very much. Quarter cup. All right, so that's all of our sugar going in. You can set our sugar aside. So now we just want to stir the sugar up and get it diluted. And before we take our measurement, we want to get our smashed berries in there and strain out all the juice and then get us up to a gallon. We'll finish putting in more water in. Where we want to be with our specific gravity is 1.085, and that's with a gallon of liquid. With a gallon of liquid and our sugar already in and our berry juice already in. So next step, we'll just leave our spoon in here. We're going to put our bag down in the bucket, and this can get tricky. because of the way we're doing this. Matter of fact, too bad the bag's not a little bit bigger, but we're going to pour our blueberry mixture down in here. There's not really a good way of doing this. I guess maybe just doing what I'm doing here, like kind of get it over the lip. Try to get everything down in there. This one's going to be a little bit trickier because it's bigger. But you want to try to avoid spilling this down into your bucket. So just get the lip around it and then you're good. Just like that. Alright, so the hard part is over. So now you got everything in your bag. It's starting to look like something. And as you can see, there's some juice coming out of the bag. So we need to drain this and try to get as much out of this as possible. We'll set it back in our bowl. All right, that's pretty good. I think we got a lot of the juice out. It's not going to hurt it if we have a little more than we're supposed to. So let's put this back in our bowl here. And right now we're not quite up to the 1 gallon mark. So we need to add a little bit more water. Okay, we're a little bit above the 1 gallon mark now. So let's stir this up good. And then we're gonna use our measuring cup to pull some out of it. It's clean. All we've done is put sugar in it, so it should be okay. So we want 1.085, so we're gonna get a sample out. And just want to make sure that your hydrometer is floating. That's good there. And you're going to read it right at the water line. And let's see, we are reading, we're right there, we're right where we need to be. We're 1.084 or 5, right in the middle, so we're right at exactly where we're supposed to be. Actually, that couldn't be any closer. So we've got a really good measurement there. So we don't need to do anything else. We're going to just pour this back in. And what we need to do here is actually tie a knot in this, or we'll have a huge mess, so make sure you do that. And we're going to want to get the rest of the juices back out of here. We're done with the masher. We're done with the measuring cup, so we can set that aside. Spoon we're still going to use. Let's get all of our juice. And set these items aside. So now what we're left with is our water, our sugar, and our mashed blueberry and juice from the blueberries. So next we're going to start adding all of our ingredients in. Alright, so we're ready to start adding in our other ingredients here. And our first item we're going to put in, we're going to crush one of these Campden tablets. And the best way to do that is just put it in the spoon, put another spoon on top of it, and just smash. Just like that. And rock it back and forth. And there you go, perfectly crushed. So we're going to get that in there. Next up, we're going to be adding our yeast nutrient, and that's going to be 1 teaspoon, so one of these. So get that in there. And that's 1 level teaspoon. All right, next up, we are going to be putting in our pectic enzyme, and that also is 1 teaspoon that we're going to put of that in it. Won't be able to stick the spoon in this one, so we're going to have to be a little more careful. That's good. And last but not least is going to be our next to last, our acid blend. We're going to put 1.5 teaspoons of this in. So it's 1, and then we have a half here, and half. All right, and last we're going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of our yeast in. So I'm going to grab the 1/4 teaspoon here. It's already been sanitized. I've already opened my yeast packet. This packet is enough for 5 gallons. After you open it, you got to close it back up, put it in a Ziploc with very little air in it, and then you should refrigerate it. It's only going to last you about a month, so you need to try to use it up as quick as possible. But we're going to get a 1/4 of a teaspoon of yeast. And that looks pretty good right there. And now we're just going to want to lift our bag up and mix all this up good. You can almost use the bag to mix it, to be honest. I'm going to try to get the spoon out without too much on it, so I'm just going to kind of stir the bag around in it to get everything mixed up good. All right, so we're all set. I mean, that's it. That's all that's left. This is what it looks like. And this is gonna ferment for about a week. So we're gonna put our lid with our airlock on. You're gonna wanna close it down good. Make sure it's sealed up. Pull our airlock off while we do this. Make sure you got the lid all the way on. You can hear it pop when it goes on. And then push your airlock back down. There you go. All right, we're all set. So, like I said, this will ferment for about a week. It'll start bubbling here in a day or so, and after a week, we'll rack this into our carboy. Hope you enjoyed the video of us making blueberry wine for the very first time. This is going to have to ferment for a while, so we'll be transferring it into the carboy and then transferring it back out of it a few times, and there's a couple more steps in the process, and maybe in 3-4 months we'll have a good blueberry wine. Hopefully that's the case, but been a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed watching, and please subscribe to our channel. You'll be automatically entered in our giveaways. We're going to be giving out some merchandise every month, and also occasionally we'll do a recipe here and there. Also, hit that thumbs up button, and visit brewingdaddy.com. Check out our website. Got a lot of great content there as well. Peace out, people. Hope you have a good one.